Hey guys, here are my 5 top traffic methods that you can use for free. So what I'm going to do is walk you through the traffic methods that I personally use, that anyone can use, and when you implement each of these, you should see a dramatic increase in your website traffic. So the first method that I've got for you today is email marketing. You've heard of this already, but there's a very good reason why you need to start using email if you're not doing so already. So, if you are relying on platforms like Google or social media, the traffic you get from those platforms isn't really your traffic. So, while we use other marketing channels like SEO and social media and paid traffic and all that, as good as it is, if anything happens to those systems or those methods, guess what? The traffic stops. So for that reason, you need to really kind of make hay while the sun is shining. So while traffic is coming to your site, funnel them into a system that you own and control. And this gives you power, because anytime you want traffic to your content, to your offers, to anyone else's site, boom, you can do that. You can just flick the switch and send that traffic wherever you want it to go. So what I do, after I create a piece of content, you'll know this if you're on my email list. If you're not, I'm going to show you how to get on that at the end. But what I do is every time I create a new piece of content, a video, I upload it. Then I send an email to my list. I tell them that the piece of content is live on the internet. I give them a few reasons why they should watch it. And in addition to that, I also provide other value to my email subscribers. So it's not just a case of getting the same content that they would get if they were subscribed to the YouTube channel. If you're on my email list, you'll know that every now and then you get special stuff that no one else is going to get. So you want to make sure that your email list follows a similar structure to that. You deliver unique content that no one else is going to get. And that can also be in the form of special deals. And that is one of the most powerful traffic methods available to us. Now, you're probably thinking, well, do I need to invest, $50 a month or whatever into email marketing? There's lots of free options available. So what I recommend you do, if you want to get started with email marketing, check out those free options and then maybe invest in a paid version when you are starting to see some results. However, it's important that you back up your email list regularly if you're not paying for it, because just like any other platform, when it comes to free stuff, people can shut you down. And email is no different unless you are paying for that service. If you're paying for the service, then you have a right to download that list should anything happen. So the next most powerful traffic method that I have is, I'm going to combine 2 together here. So it's Google and YouTube. So it depends on what your business model is. If you're primarily making content that is text-based articles, then it's going to be Google. That's what you really want to start optimizing your content for. If it's video content, then it's YouTube. I'm going to put both of these together because they are the same company and they're practically the same search engine. They just find different formats of content. So, you know me, I'm a video guy. That's where I kind of excel when it comes to content creation. You don't have to do that. However, if you do video marketing, you can actually leapfrog over really high authority websites on the front page of Google with video content. So if you go to Google, search for something, chances are you're going to see video listings above the main search engine results. So video content can kind of push you forward and give you even better results. But if you don't want to be on video, or if you don't want to do explainer videos, that kind of thing, then text-based content is going to serve you pretty well. That's why I think it's really important to optimize everything for the search engines. And yes, YouTube is a search engine. It's the second biggest website on the planet. So it's the second biggest search engine available. And as far as I'm concerned, you'll be kind of silly to ignore that, right? It's an opportunity to get more traffic. Okay, so next up is Facebook groups. So if you head over to Facebook, type in the search bar something relevant to your niche, click on the groups tab, you're going to get loads of results, but you need a little bit more of a strategy than just going in there and starting to share your content and posting links to offers and that kind of thing. There is a strategy. I'm going to walk you through how I have done it. So when I first started Profit Copilot, what I did was reached out to Facebook group owners, the admin, and I showed them my video. Now, I was very selective about the groups that I approached. Apart from my friends and the people in the industry that I got to know on a personal level, I reached out to admins of very high traffic groups. I'm talking tens of thousands of members. I reached out to them, showed them what I was doing. I was completely upfront, and these were groups that I was already active in. That's really important. You have to be active in these groups, become known, become a trusted authority, help people out first. Really do spend a couple of weeks just adding value to the group without asking for anything in return. When the admins kind of get to know who you are a little bit, they've seen you around the place, then reach out to them and ask them if you can share your content every now and then, maybe once a week, maybe once a month, whatever your schedule is. Ask them if you can share it, but I would honestly limit it to no more than once a week. You don't want to kind of push the boundaries here. You want to be very respectful and understand that it's not your group, it's their group. They're doing this probably for lead gen, and they are being very gracious and kind if they allow you to promote your stuff in their group. Chances are, if you're creating stuff that is of enormous value to their audiences, they're going to let you. So you really want to think about what's best for their audience. So when you lead with your pitch, lead with what's best for their community, not what's best for you, and sell the benefits of that. I have a little bit of a story here. When I started using this strategy, so I was pretty successful with it in one group in particular, and it's a very big marketing group. I'm not going to name it, but the admin was all for me, sharing my stuff, very supportive, encouraging, until a few months down the road, maybe 6-8 months later, he noticed that the engagement level on those posts were significantly higher than the engagement level on his posts. So people were preferring my content, and that didn't bode well. He reached out, he said, Mick, we're going to have to stop you from sharing your stuff because it's making me look bad. Now, as far as I'm concerned, that is a good problem to have. That's a good place to be in, because you're going to take it while it's available, right? And then, of course, if you're creating content that the audiences prefer over the admins, of course they're going to say, well, we can't really have that anymore. Fair enough, right? The next traffic method I've got for you is called Scoopit. So this is amazing. So it's made up of boards, niche relevant boards. If you head over there, you can search for practically anything. I mean, everything exists on this website. So these boards, think of boards as big communities. And these places, I mean, they get millions and millions and millions of visitors. They're enormous. And again, there's another strategy that's going to allow you to kind of step in and siphon some of that traffic. But it's not by just going straight in and trying to post directly on these massive industry boards. Instead, you want to look at where that content is coming from. So each board pulls content from smaller boards. What you need to do is establish yourself on these smaller communities, start feeding those, start getting your face known on those smaller boards that are still relevant to your niche, and then start sharing other people's stuff, start commenting, start sharing your own stuff, and you will notice that eventually your stuff starts to feed through to these big high traffic boards. It does require a little bit of effort, but just like most things that are worth having, it doesn't really come easy. So the next traffic method that I've got for you is, again, it requires a whole strategy behind it. It's leveraging other people's podcasts. So we're not going to go out and create podcasts for our own stuff, although that is a solid strategy in itself, and I can talk about that all day if you want me to. Just let me know in the comments. But what you're going to do here is find niche relevant podcasts. You're going to search on Spotify, Stitcher, Google Play, iTunes, you name it. We've got loads of these podcast search engines that we can use. You're going to find niche relevant podcasts. You're going to reach out to them with an angle. We need an angle to make this work, because think about it. All these podcasts, they need fresh content all the time. So if they're producing daily podcasts or weekly podcasts, whatever it might be, they're looking for new stuff to share with their audiences. This is like a treadmill that they can't get off, so they're always wanting to hear from people in your industry who have got a new angle. What you're going to do is give them that angle to use. So the best way of doing this is to either create a new method, a new formula, and give that to them and share that with their audience. How can you do that? Well, the easy way to do it is to get two well-known common methods in your industry and combine them both together. When you combine them both together, you brand it as a new thing, because that's exactly what it is. It's this new method. And you call it the X method or the X formula. Now it's branded. I mean, if we think about how this has happened previously in our industry, if we think about inbox zero, what is that really? It's just decluttering your inbox, right? But when you call it something, it becomes a method, it becomes a thing, and then it becomes shareable. So you just combine two well-known methods together and then brand it as something else. Another approach to get on podcasts is to use a filter. So if you look through breaking news, current events, and think, how does this impact my industry? What's the long-term or the short-term impact that people are going to experience as a result of this in my particular niche? Now you have an angle. So now you make something newsworthy. You have commentary about it. So then you can reach out to podcast hosts with this new angle, step in front of their audiences, because you're now delivering something of enormous value to them. And another way to get on podcasts that I found very effective is to do surveys or uncover new data. So what you're going to do is run a survey to your audience. You're going to ask them their opinion on something, and then you're going to gather the results, and that becomes an angle. That becomes a talking point. So you can say X number of people believe Y. And now you and your brand are newsworthy in your industry. But listen, we are barely scratching the surface here. So if you want the traffic methods that I never share on YouTube, if you're really serious about driving traffic to your website, head over to profitcopilot.com/traffic. Grab that. It will not cost you a penny. And if you found this useful, give it a thumbs up below, subscribe to the channel too, and hit that little notification bell so you never miss an update from me. And I will hopefully see you again in a couple of days' time. Take care.